Chapter 4. Attack. Here is part 4, people. Now so far it's mostly been quiet in the other Earths, but here is where the real fun will begin. The Dark Entities are ready to begin the attack, and let's see how each of them will handle this new and dangerous threat. So, to recap. As our heroes try to enjoy their lives, they are ignorant of the threat is soon come in. Why don't we all see how this will affect each of them, shall? Also, in case you're confused by the whole Phantasma and MMP aura that Ron has, I'm borrowing elements from Avon 12's stories, sk them out to perfectly understand. Don't forget to leave your reviews. Enjoy, my friends. Outskirts of Sherman, Lance and Alana flew alongside Ox in their Manus and Chorus armors. They had been supplied with the coordinates by Solomon, and were heading there now. It was hard to give exactly they'll see once they get there. It was easy for them to theorize that it might be the Mutrati making a comeback, but Solomon did say that it could be something else. The city limits. The three aliens traced the source to a mountain area, just outside of Sherman. Ox's scanners picked up on the signal. Guys, we're coming up in the coordinates Solomon sent us. It is approximately 2.5 miles from our positune. The robot informed his friends. Okay, get ready for anything. Alana advised. They didn't know what they were getting into, so should things go south, they might as well be prepared. The three decided to fly stealth. They carefully observed for anything that was out of the ordinary, anything that would seem out of place in this environment, but so far they'd seen absolutely nothing. Mention, it had been mostly quiet, with no organism making its presence known to the three of them. Can't really see anything, at least not yet. Lance, what about you? Asked the corporal. He shook his head. Nope, nothing here either. He turned to Ox. Are you sure these are the right coordinates? Better question, is Solomon even right about this? He asked, skeptic tone. Perhaps G3 had a minor malfunction and wait a second. Ox caught sight of something. You might wanna look over there. He pointed his holographic hand to a secluded area. Looking to where he was pointing, Lance and Alana could see an eerie blue glow coming from it. That is where I'm picking up the signal. He told them. I must also be where G Outpost sensed it as well. He surmised. Alright then, let's go. Lance said as they flew over to the location. Once they arrived, they opted to hide beneath some mountain rocks to avoid any detection, and what they say completely astounded them to no end. What the? They were greeted by the sight of an unknown contraption that looked about ready to be turned on. Its center was a portal-like device and the operator was a single alien that he never seen before. Alana took a while to be in stunned disbelief until she found her voice. Who is that? What's it doing with that machine? I am not completely sure, myself. Ox admitted, which was surprising because he always seemed to have an answer for practically everything. There is no records on that machine. It doesn't look Galilean, or Mutrati. Lance observed, narrowing his eyes at the operator. And I've definitely have never seen anything like the thing before. But that mark kind of remind me of a Rift Gate generator. Yes. Ox agreed. Only, it seems to be of a completely different make. Can't say I know where it leads to. In that case, we should just ask him. Alana moved to fly over to the alien, but Lance pulled her back. Alana, no. That would be way too dangerous. He told her. We have no idea what that thing is, or what its intentions are. He pointed out, then scratched his chin with it. Although I think that the best option right now is for us to contact Solomon and get some backup. Then, we might be able to, Lance. Ox addressed. What? The teen soldier turned to him. She's already gone. The robot pointed to the princess who had already gone. All Lance could do was smack his face with an exasperated sigh. What am I gonna do with her? Alana had indeed ignored Lance's plans for taking care of this situation and decided to see if this being could be reasoned with. Who knows? Maybe it's a peaceful visitor. Though machine was quite unsettling, she decided to deactivate her armor, as to show this being that she didn't come to attack him. She carefully approached the alien by tiptoeing. Excuse me. She whistled, getting its attention. It turned around and casted a glare at the princess. Gulping, she cleared her throat to negotiate. Hello, I am Princess Alana of Galil. I come in peace. She waited for a response, but it stayed silent. Might I ask what you're doing on Earth? And what that machine is for? Still no response. Now, she was starting to get a little annoyed. Look, I'm trying to be nice here, so I think you should at least bother to have the decency to reply back to Wem. She was cut off as pressed on a holo pattern from the deck. A laser cannon came up and aimed at her. So, you're not a talker. she guessed with wide eyes. The laser fired at her, but just in the nick in time, Lance had jumped in and shielded her with his armor. He then used his arm cannon to fire several shots at the laser, blast into pieces. "Still think we shouldn't have called Solomon?" Lance rhetorically asked. Ox landed near them. "Obviously, the alien is hostile," he observed. "So I might have jumped the gun a little." Alana shrugged as she activated her Chorus armor. She assumed now it would be easy for them to apprehend the alien, but he wasn't then have the chance. He decided now is the time to act and put in the activation codes to start the machine. Blue electricity flowed through the circle and at force all was that lasted for only a short time. Soon a white, swirling vortex, releasing powerful energy opened it up and the Titan team had to cover their eyes from the intensity of its light. "What is this?" Lance exclaimed. "The portal," Ox replied. "Something's coming through." The alien spoke into the screen, contacting his fellow agents. "Brothers, I have activated the portal," he told them. "Now it's your turn. Unleash the fury of the Dark Enters." And so, it had begun. An entire army of Dark Enter soldiers began their attack on the Galileans. They readied their blasters and opened fire upon them on they saw that they were just attacking one of their own, but also because they were interfering with their people's plans. In response to Octa's attack, the three of them decided to return the favor. "I kindly to strangers who shot at me, especially when they also fire at my friends," Lance shouted as he sent a barrage of shots at them, putting most of them down. Alana fired beams from her armor's hands and the one from the forehead. As much as she didn't want things to go violent, she knew that responding to their attack this way was the best. Ox fired electric blasts from his hands which shocked most of them into paralysis. He sped through them at super speed fashion. "Ox!" Alana yelled. "Now would be a good time to call Solomon." "Agreed." Ox complied as he contacted the head of G3. "Solomon, do you copy?" "Ox? What seems to be the problem?" "Lance, Alana, and I checked the unknown signal you warned us about," Ox replied. It would seem that it was some sort of portal machine that allowed an army of a misty alien race to come through. The robot explained. "We are trying to hold them off as long as we can, but there appear to be too many of them. Some assistance from you will be appreciated." "Copy that. I'll send a strike team to your position. Until then, stay alive." "Alive? Right, because such an easy task to do right now." Rex's Earth. The agent stationed at Rex's Earth complied and started the portal. The process was the exact same thing on the other Earths. Their machines started and soon the portal appeared. Our sheer power that it produced was so intense that the facility it was housed in started to get torn apart. The entire structure was being broken down and disintegrated. Soon every thing inside was starting to disappear, and the building was no more, which did not go completely unnoticed. Rex, Agent 6, and Bob O'Haha along with a handful of Providence soldiers were on their way to the building. Beforehand, they had evacuated the general area to avoid any civil casualties. The EV-18 was riding on his Rex ride while his mentor and sidekick were riding in the Providence transport armored vehicle, followed by others. Rex was going away from the others, something that Six noticed. "Rex, pull back a little," he ordered. "We need to handle this together. Or I could just go ahead and take care of the problem myself, and leave you guys with garbage duty." Rex responded then laughed. "Hectares. I'm just kidding, you know I wouldn't exclude you guys in the bad guy bashing." "Rex," Six said in a warning tone. "Seriously Six, you need to see someone about that negativity. I mean seriously, what's the worst that could happen?" He slowed his acting as he saw the building up here, rather what was left of it. The machine and the alien was open for him to see. "On second thought, maybe you should hurry up, cause you guys really need to see this." He said he's watching. Eventually, his allies caught up with him and also are shell-shocked by the sight. Don't see that every day," Bobo remarked. "There's one visible assailant," Six noted, pointed to the agent. "We should proceed with caution." "Sir, look." One soldier pointed to the portal and they could see something beginning to come through the portal. They could only see the silhouette of what appeared to be a group of people before they saw that each of them resembled the alien and were armed with high-tech firearms, and they looked like they were ready to attack. They observed their new surroundings, taking in the new sights and environment of the new dimension. They thought it was the perfect WRD to conquer. Seeing Rex and the Providence army, they opened fire on them. They all went into action. The soldiers returned fire with equal force. Some were shot and others were wounded by the attack. It was an intense battle. They had hard armor that could hardly be penetrated, and it didn't seem like they could be taken down. But they never met Rex Salazar. Leaping into action, Rex formed his smack started to pummel down any creeps in his sight. He also used his oversized mechanical hands to shield himself from the laser blasts. Six pulled out his Magna blades and luckily were strong enough to damage the guns and sliced their armors, making it easy for them to be outdone. One tried to shoot at the assassin's head, but a barrage of red laser courtesy of Bobo Haha stopped him. The Simian was having a grand time, firing at all of these guys, an intense shootout. What more could a blaster-toting talking primate could? Rex then used the slam cannon. Taking a chunk of some debris, he used it as ammo to fire at them. "Try this on for size, freaks!" he exclaimed, firing at most of them. Deciding to the skies, Rex formed the sky slider and used the hoverboard to get in closer to the aliens. From above, he dived down to the threats and formed a smack hand on one and blastcaster on the other. Using the whip, he wrapped it around one Dark Enter and threw over the street, falling down and with a thud. Dismounting his machines, he landed ground. One tried to sneak up on him from behind, but Six flicked over behind him himself and dealt a finishing blow. "I had that handled," Rex claimed. "Sure you did." Six sent a shuriken to strike down another who was charging at them. "I know I said that we should be prepared for anything, but I honestly didn't expect any so this isn't like most of the bad guys we have to tangle with," Rex admitted, but wasn't at all worried. "But hey, there are only like 10 or 20 guys, we can take 'em." Themsag those words, more troops went out of the portal, but this time they were followed by big hovering tanks. They took aim and fired at the buildings, and at the Providence V. Just to go and say something, didn't you? Bobo shook his head. "We're gonna need some reinforcements." Six put his fingers on his earpiece. "Knight, are you seeing this?" "I am seeing it, Six. Believing it is a whole different story." Six saw the portal and saw the oncoming soldiers. "More just keep on coming, we need more men. And maybe bigger guns while you're at it." Bobo ran up to them, shouting at the aliens. "So, any plans how to deal with an alien invasion?" "Not that I know of," Rex replied, then formed his bat axes. "But you know what they say, there's a first time for everything." He grinned, getting back to the action. Copper Canyon. After getting filled in by his friends back at Entric, Max and Steel took the turbo cycle and headed off to where they said the weird energy source was. They drove very fast to geolocation. Whatever this was, it was enough to get his Uncle Ferris and his father rather jumpy, which was enough to convince both of them that this was serious. "So Steel, I think we dealing with a new player, or maybe it's one of our old playmates?" he asked his partner. "Hard to say," the Ultralink responded. "From what Berto showed, this is definitely something that isn't URBO energy. I don't know what kind of energy it is, so there's no telling what could be. Can't really say if it's good or bad. With our luck, it's most likely the latter," Max said with a dry tone. Steel scoffed. "Come on, Max, so we have a habit of running into a superpowered nut job that not only wants to take over the world but also kill us in the process." He admitted, "Hey, the two of us, we always stop them from even trying to destroy us. Well, except for Makino, and Toxzone, Jason Hort, Extroyer, all the Elementers, and, I fail to see how this can be reassuring," Max told him with a raised eyebrow. "My point is, that with the two of us, we can handle anything, right buddy?" "Yeah, maybe you're right," Max replied. "I mean, how bad can this actually be? Look out!" Steel yelled in alarm. Max looked up and saw some debris form a building coming down on him. He steered to the opposite direction to escape from them, some from the sky, and Max had to go form LFT to right to avoid getting hit. "Go left." "Now right." "No, I'm talking about my right." "Serpentine, Max." "Serpentine," Steel advised. Eventually able to park over to a free zone, he got off his bike and saw even more building parts fall. Some people and cars got out of the way to avoid being hit. Max saw a little girl trip and would have been smashed if Max hadn't jumped forward and punched the boulder to pieces. "You okay, kid?" Max asked as he gently picked her up in his arms. She nodded her head with a sniffle. "I want my mommy and daddy," she wailed. "Martha." Both turned to see an adult male and female run over to get the little girl. "Oh, thank goodness," the mother said in relief. "Thank you, Max Steel," the father said to the superhero, shaking his hand. "It was no problem," Max replied, smiling behind his mask. "You three get yourselves to safety and find as many other people as you can," he instructed them. Nodding, the family ran off, leaving Max to observe the damage caused by the fallen debris. "Whoa! That was a close one," Steel with an exclamation point on his screen. Did that even come from? We won't find out by just standing here. Max replied as he readied himself. Go turbo. Flight. He shouted out as he reconfigured to his flight mode. Taking to the skies, Heather pointed origin where the debris fell from. Coincidentally, it also happens to be where the unknown energy was coming from. Guess there might be a problem. He made it to and was welcomed to the portal machine. Once it was activated, it completely destroyed the building it was housed in. Whoa, he breathed in amazement, knowing that he now tell his friends. Guys. He spoke into his communicator. You might want to get over here, right now. What do you see, Max? There's some kind of portal thing that just demolished an entire building. He informed Commander Ferris. Nearly took out a blow AGH. He grunted along with Steel as a single shot out from the portal and it hit them both, making them crash land on the street, creating a crater. Now. He winced. Might wanna add to them that they're not exactly friendly. Steel said through a strained voice. Good thing the suit took most of the impact, otherwise that would have hurt them. Getting up, both saw that the portal was revealing something. Soon another Dark Enter army came through and were ready to attack. Seeing Max, they immediately opened him, and he dodged each attack. Deciding to fight fire with fire, he pulled out his TURBO blaster and fired back at them. He was able to hit most of them, but more kept coming through the portal, followed by tanks. Oh boy. Steel widened his one optic in shock over this. Guys, you got to get over her, like right now. He yelled urgently. Don't worry, Max, we're closer than you think. Jefferson responded, flying in one of Enk's jets, followed by a squadron of other fighters. They fired down on the soldiers and tanks, but soon, the Dark Enters had air fighters of their own, for the portal was also large enough to allow their own jets to go through. Now it was both an air battle and a group battle. These guys are more armed than we thought. Jefferson grunted as he tried to outmaneuver most of them. Back on the ground, Max decided to get up close and personal. Go turbo. Strength. He shouted. With his hulking mode he was strong enough to take all the laser bolts behind. He tackled a group of them, making them crash to the ground. He smacked away a few others. Then a tank was gonna fire at him, if Jim McGrath hadn't jumped on it and pinged a device on it. The tank exploded and when Jim landed, he tripped a Dark Enter over and took his gun. The Tapian warrior fired rapidly at many of the Alones. He's dealt using lasers before. This wasn't anything different. Max, mind if I join the party? Steel asked. I'd be disappointed if you didn't. He responded. Go turbo. Mimic. He shouted. With this, Steel could mimic the turbo mode that Max was currently in. Both used their comm strength to combat the aliens. Sorry guys, but we kind of already met our invasion quota for the month. So leave this planet alone. He demanded. Striking one by colliding his fists with his head. Insolent fool. One alien scowled. You have no right to order us. Look at Tat, they can talk. Forge remarked casually as he shot him in the face. He raced P to Max, shooting at all sides. Max, this area's way too populated. He told him. We'll take this fight elsewhere. You won't get the chance. A Dark Enter yelled as he threw a grenade. Incoming. Forge and Max got out of the way before the grenade exploded near them. Just what in the name of Mars are these things? Steel, you've been to about a dozen other planets. Max recalled. Ever seen these guys before? His friend shrugged his shoulders. Sorry Max, but these guys are kind of a first for me too. Steel replied. Then we'll just have to keep fighting. Jim said, continuing to fire on most of them. Hope I'm not too late. Everyone looked up and saw Berto's personal robotic fighter, CYTRO, land near them. Time to test out the new upgrades. CYTRO unleashed a bear cannons at the mysterious aliens. The forces of Enk fought valiantly. They tried their best to combat the threat, but it seemed as if there was no end in sight. Norrisville, come on Cunningham, you're falling behind. Randy was in his room inside his room. After getting back home last night, he spent the first half of the day at school. The later half was play great punches with his best friend Ingerman. Cut me some slack, Howard, I had a long night. He defended, trying to get an even high score from his portly friend. Who knew fighting a ghost that hunts for a work up a lot of sleep? Oh that's right, your new friends. The 9th grade ninja shook his head at Howard's grumbling words. One thing he's kind of tired of is Howard's dislike of his partnership with Danny and Jake. Sometimes he thinks something to do that he spends way more time with them. Come on dude, I don't see why you are so against me teaming up with those guys. I mean they're really cool. Say, I'm not saying they aren't cruel, I'm just saying that I don't like it because it gives you more reasons to go ninja-ing, which I hate. Look Howard, you're my bro, I would never just blow you off, and he was cut off as he spotted a red glow from his backpack and knew exactly what this meant. I'm going to pause the game. Be right back. But we were just about to. Randy ignored his friend's protests as he went to his bag and pulled out the Sacred Ninjanomicon, an age-old book that holds the wisdom of the many ninjas that have come before. Opening it up, his entire body went limp and fell down on the floor. His consciousness was absorbed into the book. Wah! He screamed as he fell into the pages. He landed on now. Okay Nomicon, what do you want to talk to me about now? He asked, wanting to get this lesson over with. The Nomicon's words then formed straight above him. Assemble as one to avenge those who came before. Randy quirked an eyebrow. And what does that mean? As always, the ancient book of ninja wisdom didn't provide Randy with a straight answer. It transported his mind by his body. Ah. He sat up, shaking his head. I hate it when it does that. He scratched his head to get rid of the adrenaline and to think about the words. Assemble to avenge Chamber 4. He repeated with a thoughtful look. What did it mean by that? It implies coming together, but with whom for what? His musings were cut off as he heard a tapping on his window. Looking, he saw that it was Jake donning his dragon form. Shocked, he went to the window and looked around for Jake. What are you doing here, man? He asked in alarm. Someone could see you, and if they saw me, they would figure out that I'm the ninja. He raised his arms. Cool it down, Mandy. Jake told him. I was skateboarding with Spud and Trixie, then Gramps called me down and he told me to fetch you and go to Amity Park. Randy's eyes lit up. Really? Why? No clue. He just said that it was urgent. Might have something to do with Danny. The dragon guessed. So you coming or what? The teen ninja warrior was curious about what needed to be done in Norrisville, but on the other hand. Are you honking kidding me? I am so there. It's ninja time. He pulled a mask and put over his face, and the suit manifested himself over his body. You really need to come up with a better catchphrase. Jake commented as his friend got on his back. Just go already. The dragon took off from Randy's house and his town and proceeded to fly to where the final member of their trio was. Middleton. Bueno Nacho was always the favorite hangout for Ron and Kim for as long as they could remember. It supplied them with tasty Mexican food that Ron worshipped so much he combo snapped between a nacho and a taco. It also helps as a place to bring some levity to the exciting lives both of them shared together as international superheroes. I'll never get tired of this place, Ron said, taking a huge bite out of a nacho. He and Kim were sitting at a table. The others couldn't make it on account of handling their own responsibilities. Nothing like having a nice lunch to satisfy your stomach, Arafus. The naked mole rat patted his stuffed stomach and gave a thumbs up. Kim chuckled at her boyfriend's antics. Honestly Ron, I don't know how you can stomach all of those and not gain any weight. She admitted. Except maybe for that one time. Hey, monkey kung fu isn't my only skill KP. Ron responded. Too bad Monia K and the others couldn't make it. It would be nice for all of us to hang out. Kim said. Probably had to make up a term paper or something. Ron shrugged then adopted a sly look. But hey, I'm not complaining. As long as I get some alone time with my lady. Locking hands with her, making her giggle. Oh, stop it you. She playfully smacked his hand away. Before more could be said, her communicator beeped. Wait. Kim, Ron, please tell me you guys aren't busy. We're at Bueno Nacho 8. What's the sitch? Kim asked with intent. My computer just picked up a weird energy source that from the looks of it came from Amity Park. I'm telling you I've never seen nothing like this in my life. It's out of control. Thing is that the footage was hazy. Must be some kind of interference. I think you guys should check it out just to be safe. Got it wait. Kim nodded. Thanks. She got up and dragged Ron from his seat much to his protest. Hey, I was still waiting for my second course. He complained. Sorry babe, but duty calls. Kim told him. The couple went to Kim's high-tech and used its flying function for better travel. Amity Park. When school was over with, Danny decided to take a little flying trip through the city. He would have called Sam for a date, but she had some homework to do for the rest of their Tuck had a lot of mayoral responsibilities to take care of. Plus, Jazz was working on some assignment for her college and Valerie decided to take the night off from ghost hunting. Young Alpha was left to float over the city to fit for any trouble that may need to be taken care of. As far as he could tell, no ghost or some human criminal was causing any. It was times like these that made Danny wish that something were to happen to get rid of his boredom. Then, his phone rang. "Hello?" he asked. "Hey Danny." He heard his girlfriend greet from the other end. "Sam?" he questioned. "Don't you have some homework to do?" "Decided to take a little break, thought I'd check in to see how you're doing." "Found any trouble?" "Not for the most part," Danny replied. "I mean, everything seems to be quiet, but knowing my luck, that might change. Which I'm kind of hoping for, to be honest. Heck, I'd tag host for all I care," he admitted before changing his mind. "On second thought, maybe I'm not that desperate. I don't know, I happen to like the quiet. Less things to worry about other than school." "Okay, you have a point there." Danny nodded. "But all I'm saying is that maybe it would nice to have a change of." He cut himself short as he heard a boom. "What was that?" "You heard it too?" "Kinda hard not to." "Great, sounds like my parents are starting to freak out in the living room. I'm not sure if they'll let me out of the house." "Don't worry, I'll handle it," he told her with a serious look. "Be careful." "Aren't I always?" "Okay, fair enough." Danny put his phone away and he flew to where he heard the booming sound, and what he saw stopped him where he flew, for he had no words to describe what seeing. A white vortex pouring out, a legion of black armored otherworldly-looking individuals with laser weapons and tanks. They had shot at the buildings, making people in a panic. Being the superhero that he is, Danny Phantom flew in and fired ecto-rays at the front crew, making them get tossed away. He landed right in front of them. "Hey, you guys might not know this, but I'm the sheriff around these parts, and I don't take kindly to guys who mess you my town," he said with a glare. The Dark Hunters didn't take his threat seriously and prepared to fire, but then a stream of fire struck. Looking up, Danny saw Jake landing with Danny riding on his back. Jumping, Randy took out his ninja sword and sliced apart one alien's laser, and he punched him hard on the guys. Danny said in pleasant surprise, "You miss us, Danny boy." Jake jokingly greeted with a smile. "What are you guys doing here?" the ghost boy asked. "Not that I don't mind the help, but I thought you two were in your homes." Jake shot fireballs at a group of Dark Hunters. "Well, my gramps told me that going back to this town was of the utmost importance." His words, not kind. "I would never talk like T. So," Ninja began, "aren't you gonna introduce us to your new friends?" he asked as he sidestepped one troop to the floor. "I would if I even knew what these things are," Danny replied as the Dark Hunters advanced on them in a threatening manner. This might take a while, but soon, help came in just in time. "Need a hand, boys?" They looked up and saw Kim and her boyfriend, Ron, arrive on their flying car. "Kim? Ron?" Jake's questioned in surprise. "Hey Jake, long time." Ron greeted as he jumped down with MP aura powered up. He punched his fist to the ground, creating a shockwave that pushed many soldiers away. His girlfriend sent an axe kick to one's neck, and elbowed one in the gut, followed by another elbow to the back. She caught one's arm and twisted it around and placed a device. Its device fired like a rocket and took him off to a far distance, making him scream. She somersaulted over to Danny and did a roundhouse kick to one Dark Hunter. "Hope you don't mind us cutting," and she smiled at the ghost boy. "The more the merrier." Danny smiled back. Randy chimed in. "Hey, is it cool if I get your autograph?" Danny gave him a blank look. "Really? Maybe later." Kim chuckled. The group of 5 heroes charged at the aliens, doing everything they can to put a stop to them. Paris, France. Inside her parents' shop, Marinette was doodling in her notebook. When she's not fighting a villain with Cat Noir, she spent most of her time coming up with new designs for Cloche did. She sent some glances to a picture of Adrien. She doesn't want anyone to know this, but she considered it her good luck charm, one that she can't create with her Yokwami. Tiki floated near her to see her design. "Wow Marinette, that looks pretty good," she complimented. "Thanks Tiki. I have nothing better to do, and I have been putting off on finishing these designs," Marinette replied. "It's just been so exhausting fighting a villain on a daily basis. Practical, I don't have that much free time." Finishing her design, she laid herself on her bed with a sigh. "Wonder if Cat Noir has days like this." Tiki floated in front of her. "Speaking of Cat Noir, don't you think you should be a little more open with him?" she asked the teenager. "What do you mean?" Marinette raised an eyebrow at her question. You two are crime-fighting partners, don't you think you should maybe tell him your true identity? Tiki explained. What? Marinette widened her eyes. Tiki, that's just crazy. I don't see why not. Tiki shrugged. Maybe in return, he might tell you his secret identity, that way you two would have a better partnership, it could improve your entire each other. Marinette considered her words. She and the cat-themed hero had been working together for a while now, that much is true, and she has wondered who it was under that mask gave a point there. She admitted. But won't that just make things even more weirder? Before more could be said between them, there was a loud boom sound that knocked her out of her bed. OOF. She grunted. What was that? Marinette. Tiki beckoned her to look outside the window. What she saw was people screaming from the distance and what sounded like lasers firing everywhere. Great, Hawkmoth taken off a day. She complained. Tiki. Spots on. She exclaimed. Tiki entered into her Ladybug miraculous switch for her red earrings and her transformation waved her hand over her face, allowing a red-black dotted domino mask appear over it, then an entire suit of red and black fabric appeared all over her body and her transformer complete. She jumped out of her window and used her never-ending yo-yo to swing across the buildings. With Adrien, he was in his own room, feeding snacks to his Kwame, Plag. You know Plag, sometimes I worry about your excessive eating. He told the tiny cat as he gorged many tasty food. This cannot be healthy for a tiny cat. Hey, I get hungry, so sue me. Plag defended. By the way, that was a nice takedown you and your partner in saving the day did earlier. Yeah. Adrien puts his arms on the back of his head and leaned on the couch with a relaxed look. I tell ya Plag, you want a better team more in sync and better put together with my lady. But, she's not your lady. Plag pointed out. Adrien wagged his finger at him. Not yet, you mean? She's just playing hard to get, I can respect that. If you really want her to actually like you Adrien, then maybe you should share a few secrets with her, build some trust between you two. The heir raised an eyebrow. We fight supervillains every other day of the week, how much more trusting can we get? I don't know, maybe tell her your real name. The tiny cat suggested, making Adrien fumble and fall off the couch. Oh, wait a minute, let's not get too crazy Plag. Adrien said from the floor. I mean telling Ladybug my secret identity. Isn't that like a big no-no in the whole superhero gig asked. Don't let anyone know what you really look like behind the mask. Besides, I don't see her trying to do the same thing, so what would be the point? You never know. Plag shrugged. Maybe it might bring you two closer. Adrien thought this through. There were pros to knowing the identity of the girl of his dreams, but it was a huge security risk that he didn't want to take. Before he could give answer he too heard a loud boom. Whoa! He exclaimed as he lost his footing a little. That didn't sound too good. Going outside, he saw the sounds of people screaming in for like I get to take down two villains in one day. Fine by me. Plag. Claws out. He shouted, and the cat entered into his black ring, the cat miraculous. Black energy came from it. Adrien waved his hand over his face, and a black domino mask was formed, and his eyes turned into slits and the color was green, waving over his hair. Two cat ears formed. Formed around his body, and a black belt-like tail sprouted formed behind. Using his cat-like reflexes, Adrien jumped high to a building and raced towards the source of the panic. When Ladybug arrived, she expected a new villain who was previously an average human who was down in his or her luck, the perfect pawn for Hawkmoth to take advantage of, that he would corrupt with one of his butterfly akamas, but instead, she saw armored alien soldiers firing at all points of the city. Police officers and the SWAT team arrived to contain, but they had too much advanced weaponry. Did not expect this. She jumped as she saw the Cat Noir suddenly appeared next to her. Cat. Don't scare me like that. I would have given you a heads up, if I wasn't stupefied by all of this. Cat gestured to the attack. So, I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that these guys weren't created by Moth. He guessed. Won't stop us from trying though. He moved to leap into action, but Ladybug held his arm back. Normally I'd like it when you hold my hand, but might I add these guys aren't akumatized villains, we don't know anything about them. She pointed out. Since when has the Devi stopped us? Cat Noir retorted. He jumped down in between a group of them and pulled out his staff, spinning it around. The cat holder hit several dart on the face and did a backflip over to one and separated the staff into dual metal batons and hit several with them. They retaliated by shooting at him with the lasers, but Lee to his position and used her spun her yo-yo around to form a shield to protect them from the blasts. "I'll help out," Ladybug told him. "Because you actually have a good point for once." Smiling, Cat Noir held out his fist, which Ladybug bumped with her own. Pounded. They both cheered. Together, they leapt into action. Bellwood with Fistrick in custody, Ben was free to enjoy his favorite frosted beverage, a Mr. Smoothie. He didn't care what Rook, Gwen, Kevin, or anyone else has to say about them. He creative drinks, and that's the end of that. H.U. was thinking after this, he could go for some chili fries too. It's never too late for something like that. Heck, while he's at it, he might get a nacho and a taco. Nacho and a taco, it was weird, but he always wondered what a combo between a nacho and a taco would be like. Finishing his slurp, Ben was just about to go order another one, until the Omnitrix beeped. "Hello? Ben, do you copy?" The universe-famous hero recognized the voice as his grandfather, Max Tennyson. "Just drinking some smoothies, Grandpa," he responded. "Ben, I contacted you about an hour ago, and you didn't pick up." "Like I said, I was too busy with my smoothies," Ben told him again. "What, is there some kind of emergency?" "If you must know, Blue Kick and Dribber detected a strange energy readings just inside Bellwood, exactly near you. I called you to warn you, but I had to wait since you didn't pick you." "Oh, well, just tell me where in Bellwood it is and I'll take care of it quickly," Ben said, not taking this as seriously as it should be. "Just as soon as I get another smoothie." "This is serious, Ben." They both said that this energy is unknown, no one has seen anything like it. Not only that, but we got several reports of a disturbance on the other side off, which is where the source originated from. For once, follow my orders and stay there until Rook comes with a squad of plumbers. I could do that, but better yet. He activated the Omnitrix, cutting off the connection in the process, and proceeded to transform into XLR8. "I take care of it before they even get there." XLR8 chirped as he sped along to where he got the coordinates from his grandpa. Once he arrived at the edge of town in No, he was witness to a huge, giant portal machine. It had torn apart the building it was hidden inside of, and civilians were doing the best that they could to escape. Once more, Portal allowed an army of Dark Hunters to emerge from the portal, but Ben 10 wasn't deterred by this. He'd seen his fair share of invasions. "Hey creeps." They looked to see him. Can't he see this coming? He zoomed over to them, hitting them all repeatedly before they could react. Another green flash was seen, and he took on a new form. "Borg Astrodactyl, nice choice," the dinosaur-like alien said as he took to the skies, unleashing his laser whips and hit many of them with intense force. Before a tank could turf, it was fired upon by Plumber Tank. Astrodactyl saw Rook and the plumbers arrive. His partner took aim with his proto-tool and blasted a few of them that came his way while the plumbers fired their own shots at these aliens. "Ben," he shouted to the transformed teen. "Are you alright?" "Oh, don't worry about me, Rook," Astrodactyl replied. "Let's focus on these yahoos. Hope this isn't a private party." Ben and Rook saw the Saturday airship over their heads, and a rope was thrown down. Zack Saturday and his family came down and joined in taking out the claw. He used it like a club to take out a few of them. His mother used her fire sword to send a wave of fire at them, making them scream out in pain. Doc used a glove and a Cortex Disruptor to combat these foes. "Zack," Astrodactyl squawked in surprise. "What are you doing here?" "We were on our way to the Bahamas, until we passed by Bellwood and saw this mess," the teen Critide explained. "I know you alien invasions are more your thing, but I could resist." "It's cool, dude," Astrodactyl replied with a smile. "Just means more pain for them." The united forces between the plumbers and the Secret Saturdays began their counterattack. Echo Creek. To get Star's mind off of the whole glossary and magic dilemma, he invited her to go out to get some fast food out on the town. If only he took account of the human princess appetite, which meant a lot of money needed to be paid, and guess who had to dot out? Star, I think you've had enough," Marco told her. "Marco, if these people didn't want me to eat this delicious food, then they shouldn't have made them so tasty," she told him, taking more bites. "You know what go great with strawberries?" "What?" Star used her wand to add strawberries to the hot dog. She moaned in delight. "Nice and sweet. You want some?" "Thanks, but no thanks," he politely denied. "I prefer to eat my hot dogs the right way." He was about to bring his teeth down on it, until he and his best friend were knocked by Shockwave. "Now," he grunted, rubbing his backside. "What the heck was that?" "I don't know." Star replied with wide eyes, and then she got an excited grin on her face. "Let's go check it out," she told him, taking him by the arm and dragged him to where the shockwave came from. "Wait a minute, Star." Marco stopped her in her tracks. "We can't just go running in all willy-nilly, we got to think this through. Can't we just try and be more cautious about this?" "We could do that." Oh, using her wand, Star summoned the sentient cloud named Cloudy. "Hiya guys." "Hey Cloudy." She took Marco's hand and got he talking. "Cloud, take us to wherever that huge wave came from," she ordered. "Okie dokie," Cloudy said as he carried Star and Marco across the city. "Star, we don't even have an idea where it came from," Marco pointed out. "All Cloudy is doing is carrying two teenagers in and going in a huge never-ending circle." "Oh relax Marco, haven't you figured it out by now?" she asked him. "Wherever we go, trouble always manages to find us, so wherever Cloudy takes us, it'll exactly be where it came from." The safe kid could only stare at her with stunned silence. "That actually makes sense," he admitted, not used to the energetic princess actually making a compelling argument. "I mean for once, nothing bad will happen." Whoa. He yelped as Cloudy dodged what looked like a laser blast. Where did that come from? He got his answer when he and Star saw Surface, the Dark Enter army made its presence known in the city of Echo Creek and were blasting buildings. "Are you seeing this?" he asked. "I am seeing it. And this is way more exciting than Monsters or Ludo." Star Butterfly shouted in excitement and jumped from Cloudy and down at the army. Sunlight Sparkle shouted, pointing her wand at them. From it came a beam as hot as the sun and hit Sparkle's Zoid that looked like stars. The blast hit the tank, making it explode. Marco joined. He delivered a karate chop to the neck of one Dark Enter, then he did a spinning kick that struck down 5 others. Hot sauce. She summoned a tidal wave of hot sauce that made the soldiers scream. The duo fought them, trying to trifle with their plans. Tremoton. So if you use your mighty mallets with your smack hammer, it would create a seismic reaction that would neutralize any foe in your vicinity. Dr. Nora Wakeman instructed teenage robotic daughter, Jenny. She was teaching her about different combos of some of her weapons that would prove to be beneficial to her. Then I believe a dose of your shock claw will also help. XJ9? Yep. XJ9. Dr. Wakeman yelled, making Jenny snap out of her texting conversation with Brad. What? Jenny looked up from her phone and saw the judgmental stare her creator or mother was giving her. Sorry Mom. She apologized with a sheepish smile. Young lady, I did not schedule this routine assessment of your abilities just so you could not pay attention to it. She reprimanded her daughter. I know. I'm sorry, Mom. She apologized. But I just don't see the point, you know. I know plenty enough about my machines and how they work. Jenny defended. They are my body. She pointed out. Besides, it's not like I'll get to use them anytime soon. Dr. Wakeman pinched the bridge of her nose. XJ9, you must understand that by understanding your hidden capacities more, you'll unlock your full potential. It would be instrumental in your success. The house was rocked by a shockwave that made the inventor almost fall down if her daughter hadn't caught her. That wave came from Dasha observed. I'm on it. Using her rockets, Jenny took off from the house and made her way to the city, and she nearly dodged a laser that was aiming at her. Looking down, she saw the armed Dark Enters emerging from the portal and were tearing up the city block, which did not settle well with the robot girl. Missiles sprouted from her chest and fired down at them. Explosions. 2 laser guns emerged from the middle part of her arms and she held them to fire at them. The Dark Enters fired their own shots at the robot girl, but she quickly outblasts. You guys may not be the cluster, but that doesn't mean that I'll go easy on you. She shouted. Miracle City, are you ready for the ultimate challenge? Frida asked her best friend, Manny. Oh, you know it, Frida. The Ribera boy replied. After finishing his game, Frida invited him up to do another one of their crazy stunts. They were on top of a huge cliff, and were shopping cart wearing helmets. His friend suggested that they ride down the cliff to see if they could make the jump, and he agreed to it without any hesitation. Alright, on 3. You know. Do's. Truss. They finished together as they pushed themselves down the cliff, screaming wildly all the way. They were just kids being kids, enjoying the virtues of their destructive and adventurous behavior. They went up the ramp and flew off into the sky. Woohoo! They cheered excitedly. It's times like these that really made them smile. As they flew, they landed near a couple of mattresses on an alleyway. Ha 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 ha. They both laughed as they got off. Oh man, great idea, Frida. Many complimented. I definitely needed this. Anytime, Manny. His blue-haired friend replied. Just one question, why did you need this? Not that I mind it, but you seemed way more eager than usual. She told him. Manny looked down with a forlorn look. My dad was on my case about not being out here patrolling the city. He thinks that's all I should be doing instead of playing video games, and my grandpappy have always been on my case on what good or bad thing I should be doing. Needed something to take my mind off it, you know. Say no more, pal. Frida said, putting a hand on his shoulder. You wanted some life-threatening fun to distract you, I totally understand, she said. Manny smiled. You always do. Then suddenly, two screams could be heard. They looked up and saw White Panther and Puma Loco falling down from the sky and crash-landed near them at a street. Dad! Manny yelled in alarm as he and Frida ran over to check on them. Are you guys okay? What happened? Well, we were just enjoying father and son time, White Panther interrupted his father. Actually, I was trying to stop you from flying off away with a bag full of priceless jewels from the bank. He retorted. Followed by a woman pros. The point is, we were blasted by those bozos. The old supervillain pointed to the Dark Enters who have just emerged from their portal machine and were wreaking havoc on the crime-infested city. Ay caramba. Manny gasped, knowing that the time for games was over. He spun his belt buckle around, making his superhero suit appear around him. Roaring with the Fawcett Tiger, he spun around and did his pose. El Tigre. Going into action, he and his family of heroes and villains fought the alien invasion with force. El Tigre fired his chain claws anthem as which to slice them across their armors at their guns. With a roar he lifted up a car with his enhanced strength and threw it at one of the tanks. White Panther delivered off punches and kicks to them, and Puma Loco fired missiles and lasers. If anyone was gonna terrorize Miracle City, it was gonna be him. Dark Enter Homeworld. What is the meaning of this? Leader bellowed from his throne room. He had been witnessing the attacks on the alternate Earths and was pleased for there being no problems were present, but then he bore witness to the individuals who have interfered with his people's plans. He knew that there was to be resistance against their attack, but he didn't have young offenders who were capable of transformation, gifted fighting, magic, in the possession of technology that was too advanced for humans, and other aspects he didn't account for. This was not supposed to happen, things were supposed to be according to plan. Master, we're amassing heavy casualties. We were unprepared for this Earth's forces. They come with might and fortitude. We require reinforcements. Silence. He scowled. I shall handle this. He decided. These individuals were a threat to his people's mission. And all threats to the Drakenters must be neutralized all in one place. General, pull the forces back. Master. I have a plan. He told his right-hand man. He pressed controls in his chair that lets him control the energy at the portals, and he knew just what to do. These juvenile miscreants threat to us. We must take care of them first. Hold off the invasions on their Earths for now. We will strike them in one single Earth. Amity Park. Ninja cold balls. Ninja threw balls that froze one soldier. Ninja hot balls. He then threw their hot equivalent and they exploded on impact. Oh yeah. This is so the cheese. No else wants some. But he didn't get the chance to fight another one. They all retreated back into the portal. What? Then he was blasted by some kind of electrical charge. He wasn't alone, fellow heroes were also hit and they were being drawn to the portal. And it wasn't just them, all across the alternate Earths. Each and every one of them. Danny, Randy, Kim, Ben, Zach, Max and Steel, Marco, Star, Lady Doug, Captain Ware, El Tigre, and Jenny were all being drawn to the portals on their Earths and were sucked into them much to the alarm of friends and family. Many. Ben or Zach. Max. Rex. The only ones who weren't affected were the Titan trio who were still fighting. Their Earth was locked on by Leader. He sent them there so that they could all be destroyed all in place, then they would resume their invasion. Until then, these youngsters will be hunted down and exterminated. He will see to it swiftly. Tell me what you think. Pretty great, right?